Adopted a girl to give our son a sister. But my sister treated her like ST at a birthday party and called her not family. Now we are cutting off my sister while our daughter is struggling. I, 36M, have been lurking here for a while and now it's my time to share my story. I have been married to my wife for 10 years. We have a 6-year-old son. While we are grateful to have a healthy and amazing son, we both always wanted a daughter. We hope to conceive a baby girl in our second pregnancy. Unfortunately, my wife developed a medical condition that affected her uterus. The doctor gave us the sad news that she could not conceive again. We were shattered because we really wanted a baby girl. We were so passionate about having a daughter that our son was even excited with us to have a little sister. You see, my wife is a single child, so she understands the loneliness of being one. She didn't want our son to go through the loneliness she had been through. So my wife always wanted to have 2 children, and if that second child was a baby girl, then nothing like it. However, her medical condition didn't allow us to have a second child. We were left with no choice but to go for adoption. When I pitched this idea to my wife and son, they jumped in excitement that now we could finally have a baby girl at our house. However, it is not as easy as it sounds, especially for baby girls. The government has put so many checkpoints for the baby's safety that its adoption has become a daunting process. After 2 years of unlimited interviews and meetings, we finally got a call one day that there's a 3-year-old girl available for adoption. I don't want to talk about her parents, just that she came from a troubled family. CPS rescued her from her family and put her up for adoption. We were over the moon with the news. We hugged each other and cried with happy tears. Call it a miracle or coincidence, she is 3 years younger than our son, just the way we wanted our kids to be. The next day we went to pick up our daughter. We were nervous but equally excited. We went there and the caregiver gave us the details about her family history and other necessary information. The attendant then took us to the nursery where the baby was sitting by herself at the corner, hiding her face with a doll. The attendant asked us not to force the baby to talk to us and not to pick her up without her permission. She was a shy girl and needed some time to get comfortable with strangers. We got to know that she had been in stress because of what she had gone through with her parents. So, we sat there waiting for her to relax. Meanwhile, my son went near her and started playing with the other toys scattered around there. Slowly, the child started peeking from behind the doll and smiled. I remember every detail of that first meeting with our daughter. The moment was surreal. She was the just so perfect little girl. Gradually, she got comfortable with our son and played with him. Me and my wife sat there with tears in our eyes. This was the very picture we had been dreaming of for years. Our son held her hand and brought her to us. We both hugged her and it was the best moment of our life. I took her in my arms and we came back home. Our family was complete that day. I was driving the car while my wife was sitting beside me and our 2 children playing in the back seat. It was the most emotional day of our life. Of course, the birth of our son was one, but this was different. We love our son equally as our daughter, but she needed a little extra care and love to overcome her past. We did everything to make her comfortable at our house. She took her own time to call us mom and dad. Our son helped her in adjusting to our house. Gradually we introduced her to our extended family and friends. Kiki is a shy girl, so we are mindful in introducing her to our family members. We have taken one family at a time. She takes her own sweet time to get comfortable with the people. We first introduced her to my wife's parents because they were equally excited as us to have her in our lives. She got close to him in no time. They are very kind and loving grannies for both our children. Sadly, I cannot say the same for my parents. I grew up in a troubled household. Mom and dad parted ways as soon as we became adults. They had their differences for a long time, but divorce was costly, so they put up with each other's shit until we grew up. I have 2 brothers and a sister. Since our parents were emotionally unavailable, we siblings watched out for each other. We 4 pretty close, but my sister enjoys most of the love from 3 brothers. You know how special it feels to be a sister of 3 brothers. To add a cherry on the cake, she has an adorable daughter. My elder brother has 3 boys and the younger one has 2 boys, and my sister has a daughter. Until my daughter came, my sister's daughter was the most beloved child of the family. She was the only girl amongst 6 cousin brothers. While my brothers have always had my back, my sister is a little nosy. She has to say in everyone's business. So, when I told my siblings about our adoption decision, my brothers were super supportive and excited to welcome another baby girl into the family, but my sister was not. She was like, "Why do we need another girl in the family? We have my daughter. You and your wife can shower all your love on her." My son wanted a sibling, and playing with her daughter is not gonna fill that gap for my son. My sister didn't understand this. She was against the adoption, saying God knows whose blood we are bringing home. She's that kind of a person. Blood is thicker than water. My brothers are not like that. So we didn't hesitate to introduce Kiki to them and their families. We introduced to her one family at a time. My brothers and Seals adored Kiki when they saw her. She's just so beautiful and adorable. Kiki is yet to get comfortable with her uncles and aunts, but she played with her cousins at the first meeting. Though I am super close to my siblings and we go for family trips together every few months, after Kiki came into our life, we have not taken any trips together. We didn't want to make it overwhelming for her. Now, the thing is, me and my wife are wondering whether we should introduce Kiki to my sister or not. I mean, I told you her take on the whole adoption thing, and she is a big mouth person. I don't want her to comment something in front of Kiki which brings down her self-esteem. That poor soul is still struggling to come out of her shell, and I don't want her to go through any situation which traumatizes her. However, if we don't let my sister meet Kiki, it would mean cutting off my sister from our life, which I don't want. I'm really at a fix. What do I do? Update 1. Hello everyone, thanks for sharing your experience. Me and my wife discussed a lot, and then we thought let's try our bit and see how it goes. I called my sister and asked her if she was available the following weekend. She said yes. We went to her place with our children. Her husband was super sweet with Kiki. My sister was upset with us that we introduced Kiki to my brothers first instead of hers. She is so used to getting special treatment from all of us. My wife and I just smiled and said we are limiting the interaction of new people to Kiki, we don't want to overwhelm her. She rolled her eyes and said, why are you guys making such a big deal about her? I mean, she's, you know. She stopped and hugged Kiki and told her that she was her aunt. It felt good, but somehow Kiki was uncomfortable. She was unusually quiet and insisted that we leave the place soon. My son took her to my niece's room to play, but Kiki was not keen to play with my niece. I don't know what happened inside, but my son said that the two girls didn't get along well. Quite the contrary, when she was at my brother's, she never asked us to take her home. She enjoyed playing with her cousins. We acknowledged her dilemma and we pushed off from my sister's place. 2 months later, my sister organized a birthday party for her daughter. Her birthday has always been grand since she was the only girl in this generation until Kiki came into our lives. As usual, we bought her loads of gifts as she has been our darling niece. We went to the party with our son and Kiki. I found my sister was not very cheerful around my daughter like the way she is around my son. During the cake cutting, she called her nephews including my son to stand beside her daughter, but she didn't call Kiki. I thought she missed it. So, I dropped Kiki beside my niece. My sister swiftly came and picked up Kiki and handed her over to me saying, she looks stressed out in front of the crowd. She might be more comfortable with you at the corner. My wife and I exchanged looks and we thought she was being protective. After the cake cutting, I asked my daughter to go play with my niece, but my daughter resisted. I didn't force her. My niece is 5 years old. I called her and asked her to take Kiki with her to play and make her comfortable. My niece rolled her eyes and said, my mom has told me not to play with her. She's not my cousin. She's not your daughter. She's adopted, right? Why did you bring her here? Mom is upset because of her. My Bill heard her and he scolded her for being mean. My wife stopped him because it was her birthday and we shouldn't ruin it. Bill apologized to both of us. I knew my sister was nosy and big-mouthed, but didn't realize that she was so evil that she would ask her daughter not to play with mine. I wanted to leave the place right away, but my Bill insisted we have dinner before leaving. I told my brothers about this and they asked me to calm down and discuss this later because there were other guests present. My wife and I sucked it up and stood there. However, we lost our shit when my sister discriminated between my daughter and the other children of the house. She gave a big box of returned gifts to all the nephews including my son, and gave a small box to my daughter. Initially, I thought it was a different gift for a girl, but then I saw that all the other children of the friends and neighbors also had that small box as my daughter. Kiki started sobbing that her brother and other cousins got big boxes and she got a small one. She was crying that aunt doesn't love me and she loves others. We tried to pacify her, but she's just 3. She was hurt to see the discrimination. My sister caught Kiki crying and saying this. She pulled my wife to the corner and asked her to control Kiki's mouth because the guests were listening and they would think bad about her. My wife didn't say anything because a few of my sister's friends were looking at them and she didn't want to create any scene. My wife came to me and said we should leave. I questioned her no further because I know her very well. If she takes such a decision, it means it's severe. I called my son who was playing with his cousins. I told him we were leaving. He wanted to stay longer. He started throwing tantrums. I picked him up and started walking outside. My brothers came to stop me and asked me to wait for the family picture. My wife said we don't want to stay where our daughter was not welcomed. My brother got the hint. He said sorry and backed off. My sister stopped us and said we were creating a scene there. I pitched in and said we were trying to keep calm until now, but you know what, everyone deserves to know how evil you are. You're mean to my 3-year-old daughter. You even told your daughter not to play with mine. You discriminated between your nephews and niece. You gave special gifts to all the children of the family but gave my daughter a regular gift which you gave to other kids. She rolled her eyes and said, yeah, because special gifts were for the children of the family, and your daughter is adopted and not family. Me and my wife were flabbergasted at her remark. How could she even say that? My wife started crying and everyone was looking at us. My sister got furious and yelled, why you guys are so adamant about ruining my reputation? You have already put the family on a spot by bringing this filth into our lives. Was it necessary to bring her here and show her to the world? Now that you are here, just stay. I don't want the guests to see that there's anything wrong between the siblings. I don't want to give any more gossip to them. My wife yelled back at her because we cannot just stand there and take her crap. My daughter started crying amidst all the yelling. We were asked to keep her away from a chaotic situation because that would affect her mental health. I pulled my wife and said, "Let's leave, we cannot let our children breathe in this toxic environment." Bill came running behind us to stop us and said sorry for everything. Meanwhile, my sister yelled that we would not leave the venue without apologizing to her. I frowned at her. I mean, she was the one who was evil to my daughter and we apologized to her. No way. She said that we spoiled her daughter's birthday and made her upset. We created a scene in front of everyone, so we owe her an apology in front of all. Apology, my $1. I said I'm not apologizing, and you know what, if you are already embarrassed by us, then let me make it straight for you, we are cutting you off. This might save you the reputation. She did not calm down even after hearing this. She screamed, "You're cutting off your sister, your own sister, for this adopted girl. God knows whose blood runs into her. What wrong did I say that she is not family? She's not. We're family." I wished I punched her in the face. My elder brother lost his shit and he yelled back at my sister. If you're so keen about family dynamics and blood relations, let me clarify one thing. If there's any child here who does not belong to our family, it is your daughter. She belongs to your husband's family and not ours, yet we love her like our daughter because we don't harbor hatred in our hearts like you do. Kiki is our family more than you or your daughter. And if anyone here owes an apology, it's you. You need to apologize to them, us, and this little girl. She looked at my younger brother for support, but he said big bro, elder brother, was right and she had been mean to Kiki all this while. Feeling defeated, she started crying that we were ganging up against her and ruining her daughter's special day. Gosh. Why does it always have to be about hers? We just left after that. That incident has not gone down well with my daughter. She has lost her self-esteem. She has gone back into her shell and doesn't want to meet anyone. Bill called us that very night and apologized to us. He said he should have intervened earlier, but since we all siblings are close to each other, he remained distant from our matters. I said it's fine, it's not your fault. You did try to control the situation, but I guess we have gone too far pampering our sister that now she has turned narcissistic towards us. My younger brother and his wife visited us with their children, but my daughter remained inside her bed and didn't come out to play. I told them how badly our sister has been behaving with my daughter. They were shocked to hear how mean our sister could be. They said we should have cut off our sister much earlier. Anyways, better late than never. We have decided to cut her off from our lives and safeguard our daughter's well-being. Update 2. Hello everyone, thanks for checking on our daughter. She's doing much better. She has started making friends in the neighborhood. We have enrolled her to play school and there she gets counseled for her mental health. As for my sister is concerned, we are NC with her. After that incident, my brothers and their wives have also reduced contact with her. As I said earlier, my sister has always been nosy and big-mouthed. My seals and my wife were not too fond of her. They were putting up with her because we brothers loved her too much. So there's this thing between us that we go for a family vacation every summer. Wherever we are, whatever we do, how much ever busy we are, we ensure to make time for a week and go for a vacation. This year, it was our turn to organize the vacation. My wife made it very clear that she would not go if we included our sister in the plan. She told this up front to my elder brother during one dinner. My brother said that we have pampered our sister a lot and it's time we put her in place. So, we planned the vacation for our 3 families. The night before our trip, my younger brother's wife posted pictures of packing on her Instagram. My sister saw that and asked her where they were going. Sil said that we were going on a family vacation. My sister freaked out that we didn't include her in the plan. Sil said that it was our turn to organize the vacation, so if she had anything to say, she could contact us. Now, my sister cannot swallow her pride and call us. So she called my younger brother and yelled, "How could you all go for a family trip without me?" He said that it was my wife who had planned it, so he really can't do anything about it. My sister flipped out and said he and I were a simp man to listen to our wives. She said, "It is our family trip. Did you guys forget it? How could you leave me? Your only sister, remember?" My brother said, "If that is the thing, then you can join us and leave your husband and daughter. Would you?" She said, "No way." My brother was like, "Then how could you expect us to leave our family for your sake?" She hung up and called my elder brother. She tried to guilt trip him, saying, "You are our elder brother. Our fatherly figure. It's your responsibility to keep the family intact, yet you're letting that WTCH eliminate me from the family trip." She said a lot more. My brother heard her rant and said, "Yeah, being the big bro, that's what we call him. It's my responsibility to hold the family together and that's why we are going for a family vacation." She was like, "Then why am I excluded?" My brother replied, "Remember? I told you that you got married into your husband's family, so he, his parents, and his siblings are your family. Do you include them in your plans? No, right?" She was silent. My brother said that being the elder one, it is his responsibility to provide a safe place for all the children of the family, including Kiki, but she feels threatened by the presence of her aunt, so unfortunately we have to exclude her. She hung up after that. She called our uncle and told on us. He said he didn't want to get into our siblings' business. She also called other relatives to badmouth us, but we didn't give in. We went on vacation and it was so much fun. My wife intentionally bombarded social media with our happy pictures and videos to make her feel jealous. If you look at this singularly, it might sound childish that we feel victorious excluding her from the trip, but that's a punishment for our sister. She takes pride in us. She goes around the relatives and friends boasting about how amazing her brothers are and that we treat her and her daughter like princesses. Some of our relatives even told us that my sister was jealous that we adopted a girl because that diluted her only girl tag in the family, and that's why she was mean to us. I said go hell with that tag, we don't care what she thinks. Me and my wife have decided not to resume any contact with my sister. Even if she apologizes, which I don't think she would, we would not let her come near Kiki. Our daughter has suffered enough and we cannot let her get traumatized. She completes our family. She has brought happiness into our lives and we cannot let anyone take away this joy from us. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Brother carries a creepy prosthetic leg everywhere. So I banned it from my house during his visit. But he refused to leave it behind. Turns out he stole it from a woman. My younger brother has a prosthetic leg. I think it is creepy AF and I have no idea where he got it. I'm reasonably certain that it is something I would rather not know. To be clear here, my brother has 2 perfectly healthy legs still attached to his body. He just has this thing he takes with him everywhere. I don't know why, I don't want to know. Before you ask, yeah, it is probably a mental health thing. He wanted to stay with me rather than our parents while he is home for the holidays. I said he was welcome to stay so long as he doesn't bring that thing into my house. He said it wasn't a big deal and that he would leave it in his luggage. I agreed on the condition that if I saw it outside of his luggage in my home, then I had the right to destroy it. He backtracked on staying with me and is at our parents' house, where he is miserable. They still treat him like a little boy instead of a guy who is almost 30. He called me again after supper and asked to please stay with me. I said he could so long as we, together, took his thing and put it into a storage unit until he leaves. I get the key. He won't do it. He says that I'm being a bitch for not letting him stay with me. I think he needs to get therapy or medication. Or both. Or a girlfriend. Boyfriend. Dog. Cat. Hamster. Something. Just not a GD prosthetic leg. Comments. Chris 1986, I know this is extremely distressing for you, but I'm laughing so hard. At first I was like, is this serious? She won't let her brother bring his leg? Like his whole leg he needs to walk because he literally lost a leg in some horrible accident. But then you clarified both his healthy legs are still attached and I lost it. NTA, but you and I are not the same. I would need to know. All of it. Where did you get it? Why do you have it? What do you do with it? Did you steal it off a bum or something? Then I would stare at him uncomfortably until he broke and told it all to me. I may later regret my decision, but I don't often think that far into the future when something catches my attention. Apollamistil, an emotional support prosthetic leg, that's a new one. Fantastic _warning 389, her brother won it in a raffle, and it came all the way from France in a crate marked fragile. The leg is actually a lamp, and it wears a black fishnet stocking, a black high heel shoe, and a fringed lamp shade. Daniel Orris, I'm a prosthetist and I have to ask, what does this leg even look like? Below knee or above knee? Does it just have the pylon bare, or is there a foam covering so that it sorta looks like a leg? Is there a foot shell on it, or is the foot component just sorta hanging out? The reason I'm asking is because A, prosthetic anything is mind-bogglingly expensive, and B, you can't just have a prosthetic leg if you have 2 perfectly healthy legs. You literally need a stump to make one that's specifically yours. Did your brother receive it from someone? Did he steal it? And just to be sure, it's an actual prosthesis and not a leg brace of some kind? I've had patients and their families make that mistake before. Appropriate _elk 2603 op. It looks like a carbon fiber cup with a steel knee and lower leg and foot. Daniel Orris, oh Jesus. AK prostheses are not cheap, that's an entire car right there. I would actually grill your bro on where he got it, because it is 100% not his. If he stole it, he's looking at felony/grand theft charges. If he bought it, check his and your parents' financials because again, these things are insanely expensive and he doesn't sound like the brightest bulb. Make sure he does not try to sell the prosthesis or any of its components. I get that they can be hard to get for the people who need them the most, but if the components are damaged in any way, they can lead to gnarly injuries for when they inevitably fail. If you truly do want to get rid of it, there are organizations out there that will take old prostheses and refurbish them. Jin_n_tonic_with_dog, out of interest, what happens to prosthetics when their owner dies? Do they get refitted to someone else? NTA for not wanting it at your house though. Daniel Orris, unfortunately, the vast majority get tossed. The socket is specific to the owner and you can't really adjust them to someone else's limb due to the material and the fact that everyone's stump is different. Components such as the knee and foot are technically reusable, but a lot of the time, they've been used enough you can't pass them on with good conscience. The only times I've ever seen components reused is if the patient tried them on during test fittings and they didn't like it, basically 1 hour of use, or if they happened to pass away before they even got to put them on. Jin_n_tonic_with_dog, interesting. Let's hope Op's brother got their leg from someone who doesn't need it anymore. Danu Oris, that's what I'm hoping too, though the concept of it still grosses me out. Prosthetic legs can get pretty nasty really fast, and nearly all the above knee prostheses I've seen definitely had a funk. Even if Op accepts their bro having a prosthetic leg as a security blanket, they still shouldn't let it into their house until it's been thoroughly disinfected. And I mean thoroughly, just running a wet wipe over it won't cut it. Once had a cockroach crawl out of the pylon. Update, I didn't realize how much attention this was going to get. Enough that someone informed the woman my brother stole it from, and she was able to figure out what happened. She called the cops and he got arrested. I guess he was sort of trying to do the thing where he could be the hero that tracked down her leg. Please don't ask me what the fuck was going through his head. The leg was expensive enough that he is facing real criminal charges. That's all. Sorry, there is not more to tell. Comments, Gold Magikarp, I remember reading this originally and wondering why the hell he needed to take that leg around everywhere with him. I feel like he would have returned it way sooner if he wanted to play the hero. Puzzle-headed tap 4484. Given that he was traveling with it like it's a security blanket and it sounds like he's had it for a while, I was thinking it was more a sexual thing for him, rather than a hero thing. So weird and disturbing. The underscore thing underscore behind underscore you. Maybe playing the hero is just the excuse he gave when caught because he didn't want to admit to some really weird sex stuff? Potential underscore speech underscore 703. That's wild. I wonder why he wanted to bring it with him though. Is he obsessed with the woman and has to carry the leg with him all the time? I mean, stealing it is one thing, but why carry it around all the time? If he tried to be a hero, he could have hid it. Sounds more like a weird obsession? I don't think he wanted to give it back to be the hero. I've so many questions. But I'm glad the woman will get her leg back. This is something I never thought I would ever say. Yellowbird 87. I don't know that the woman should want that leg back. There are a lot of weirdos when it comes to amputees. So underscore many underscore words. A friend of mine recently lost his leg to diabetes. No joke, the prosthetic costs about $80,000. Insurance is at least paying for it, from he said. Odd episode, I can't imagine taking something of such practical and monetary value from someone. Oops, brother is a real poss. Bo Diddley underscore squat. Flannery O'Connor wrote a wonderful short story, Good Country People, which ends with a nihilist Bible salesman stealing a woman's prosthetic leg after she rebuffs his advances. I loved that story as a teenager because it was so dark. Never in a million years did I think it could conceivably happen in this day and age.